Hey everyone, welcome back to the Libby Studio, and today I'm here to talk about the first book in the Off-Campus series by Elle Kennedy, and it's called The Deal. This is about Hannah and Garrett's relationship, and it's basically what the first season is based on, the main plot and everything, but the first season added in some stuff that wasn't in the book, mostly thinking about other characters' plot lines weren't really a thing in the first book. Those are kind of safe for the later books. Obviously, Allie and Dean's relationship isn't featured until book three, but we get some of that in season one. So obviously, you have to kind of restructure it because it is turned into a television series. But I really enjoyed the book. I thought it was a really fun read. It was a quick read for me. It was just a good college book, and I think it helped that I had already watched the show, so I had like the foundation going in. And they changed some stuff, and some stuff I like how the show handled it more, and some stuff I like how the book handled it more. So I'm excited to get into that with you guys. But I'm going to go ahead and read the back summary real quick, like I always do for books. Hannah Wells has finally found someone who turns her on, but while she might be confident in every other area of her life, she's carrying around a full set of baggage when it comes to sex and seduction. If she wants to get her crush's attention, she'll have to step out of her comfort zone and make him take notice, even if it means tutoring the annoying, childish, cocky captain of the hockey team in exchange for a pretend date. All Garrett Graham has ever wanted is to play professional hockey after graduation, but his plummeting GPA is threatening everything he's worked so hard for. If helping a sarcastic brunette make another guy jealous will lift his grades and secure his position on the team, he's all for it. But when one unexpected kiss leads to the wildest sex of both their lives, it doesn't take long for Garrett to realize that pretend isn't going to cut it. Now he just has to convince Hannah that the man she wants looks a lot like him. So, what I will say is they definitely changed the structure because the show they get to the Hannah and Garrett official relationship a lot quicker. It's like the end of episode four going into episode five is when they officially get together, but the book drags that out a lot more. They very much drag the fake relationship, the pining, the insistence that she likes Justin. That definitely gets dragged out a lot more. Now, the Justin thing is so interesting because they utilize him a lot more in the show. They make his character a way bigger deal. In the book, there's this whole side plot with Cass and MJ in the Winter Showcase, and a lot of that gets removed in the show. You don't have the Cass and the MJ plot line. Instead, you just have Justin be like that music centerpiece for her storyline, which I think that was okay to remove it because I don't think that specific storyline was necessary. It was just a side plot. I think making Justin and him helping Hannah out with her music, I think that made more sense for the show's plot line. I mean, if you already have a musically inclined person, you might as well just do that. They changed him from a football player in the book to a musician for the series, and I think that was an okay change. I think I was okay with that. But they definitely dragged out the whole I like Justin a lot more in the book, and in the show, she gets over it a lot faster because the show makes the right move by letting her go out with Justin for real, and her realizing that she didn't like him that way, and then she goes to Garrett. And in the book, she doesn't really give Justin a chance. She just kind of has it in her mind that she likes him without even like pursuing anything. It's just like it definitely felt like he was more of like a thing in the back of her head rather than like an actual option where the show actually pursued him as a potential interest. And I think I like how the show handled Justin a bit better, where in the book it just kind of felt like something just in the back of her head, just like a whatever kind of thing. But they definitely ended his character like on a better note in the book with him and Hannah being friends and he's going out with one of Hannah's friends, where in the show they kind of ended him as a villain, having stolen her songs. I don't like how they ended his character in that sense. I think they could have written that better. It's interesting. I feel like the biggest difference was how they handled Justin's character between the book and the show. It's so interesting how they went into a completely different direction with him. In the book, they really just had him be like a silly little crush, but they made him into so much more in the show, and then they kind of just ended him as a villain. It was just a weird change in character. But I like how they handled Hannah and Garrett's relationship in the book. I feel like we got to see a lot more of those little scenes, like the scene where they binge Breaking Bad. A lot of those scenes I really enjoy. I like that they made a bigger deal when she masturbated for him the first time. And I thought and in the show they kind of brush over it. They do have the whole plot line where she confesses that she got raped to him in both the show and the show and the book, sorry. And I thought it's well done in both, but in the book they actually give it the attention it deserves, because when she realizes she can finally have an orgasm to him, she is like so over the moon about it, considering she hasn't been able to do that. And I really like that they focused on that in the book. And what I like that they focused about in the book too is that they focused a little bit on her trauma when it came to her ex-boyfriend Devin. We even saw Devin at one point. Now I'm pretty sure Devin wasn't a thing in the show. We didn't see him, obviously. I don't remember if he was mentioned, but I don't think so. They definitely they kind of feel like they focused Hannah's attention and a lot of that on Justin and then Garrett, where in the book they kind of focus a bit more on her past relationships. And I think both the series and the book, I think that they portray her trauma with the rape pretty well. In the book they change it to how it's not her rapist that Garrett comes across, it's her rapist like best friend, which I thought was an interesting change. I think it didn't really matter either way, whether it was her rapist that like she ended up having to deal with the trauma with. I mean, either way, that was like the ultimate person, the person who gave her the trauma. But it was just interesting that the book had it be just the rapist's best friend. I don't think it really mattered either way. I think the show just changing it to the rapist himself, Aaron, was an okay move. I didn't think it really mattered either way. It still had the same impact. Now, a big change that they made is that in the series, they had them break up after Garrett attacked Delaney on the ice. Now, in the book, Hannah's kind of upset with him for attacking Rob. Rob is his name, but like it doesn't lead them to break up. What leads them to break up is Phil saying to Hannah, like, you need to break up with my son, and if you don't, I'll cut him off, basically all of his money, everything. Like, I won't be providing for him anymore if you don't break up with him. So she does break up with him, and then they have like a short-lived breakup and everything, and then they get back together when she kind of confesses what your dad said for me to do. And they removed a lot of that in the show. They kind of had their main issue with the breakup be, or the main issue that led to the breakup in the show was the whole Delaney issue. And they changed that for the book. Well, I get more like they changed it for the show because the book came out first, but you know what I mean. I personally think I prefer how they did it in the show, because the thing I liked about the show is that they just kind of made Phil into just like a douchebag of a father, but they didn't make him evil. They just kind of made it. They kind of left it there, and they didn't rush a reunion either. And I like how they handled it in the book too, but they kind of made Phil a little bit more evil. Like, we didn't really see any redeeming qualities for him. Where in the show we saw like him at Thanksgiving, him and Garrett were kind of bonding right before dinner, and we didn't get those moments at all in the book. Phil was just a flat out villain the entire time. So I like that in the show they humanized Phil a little bit, but at the end of the day it didn't really matter, because he ended up just being a piece of shit because he now abuses Cindy. And I like that Cindy left him in the book, but they didn't. She stayed with him in the series. I did not like that change. So I feel like a lot of the Phil stuff they just didn't handle the right way in the show. I think they could have done a better job writing his character. Especially with the Cindy thing. I think it was just cool that and it was good that Cindy ended up leaving him. For some reason, they changed that for the show. Now, it's very possible we could get some of this stuff in season 2, considering we're still going to get to see Hannah and Garrett, and it's possible that we'll get to see Phil cornering Hannah and asking her to break up with Garrett. That's possible, but I don't know if they'll take up that much screen time in season 2. It's hard to say. I don't think so. I don't think they're going to have a boatload of screen time. I think it's going to focus a lot on Allie and Dean. I think they're going to introduce Logan and Grace, probably a little plot line for Tucker, and then whatever they give Hannah and Garrett. But I just don't think it's going to be a whole breakup. I mean, it's possible. I mean, they definitely have material they can work with. They definitely focused a lot more on the Delaney issue in the show, where it didn't end up amounting to much in the book, which I think I was kind of okay with them, with the reason they broke up being the rapist issue. I think that was an okay way to write that, even if it kind of felt rushed and they got back together at the end. But the book kind of feels a bit rushed too, because they kind of break up and get back together so quickly. It just takes them a bit longer in the book to get them officially together. It's like not until three-fourths of the way through, where in the show they have them get together halfway through the season. So overall, though, I mean, the book definitely filled in some more of the details, and I really enjoyed that. They also have like Garrett thinking about Logan's crush on Hannah, where in the show we kind of get is just looks. We don't actually get anything else beyond that. And a change that they did make is that in the book, Hannah kissed Dean in front of Garrett to kind of make him jealous. And in the show, she kissed Logan. And I thought her kissing Logan made way more sense considering that feeds into Logan's crush on her. And it's a perfect way to write that considering next season, my guess is Logan's going to kind of be still getting over his feelings for Hannah, and then he's going to meet Grace. So it's a perfect transition, and then that'll obviously lead into the Logan and Grace plotline for season 3. But it was a good book. It was a good read. I enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to the next book, which is it's just weird that they're doing it out of order. I'm like, do I read the Allie and Dean book next, or do I read the Logan and Grace book next? Now, granted, we're not going to get to see season 2 until probably next summer, so it doesn't really matter. And my library can't get the interlibrary loans for the next 4 books, so I don't really have a handheld copy. I could get it online, but I prefer reading the physical copies, but that's just me. So I think they wrote the Hannah and Garrett relationship good in the book. It was good, and I think it went from the book to the show perfectly. I think they played it out perfectly. The transition, the kind of going from one to the other. I think they portrayed the characters really well, and I really felt like they matched their personalities in the book. I didn't feel like anything was out of character. I think it felt very realistic and very accurate to the characters, how they portrayed it in the show. The show did a great job. I'm not going to lie. They did a great job. There is really only a few things about the show that I really appreciate. And part of that was the Phil plotline. Part of that, I think the using Jules, considering she doesn't exist in the books, was kind of weird. I didn't care for that. She just was kind of extra and annoying. But yeah, it was a good read. So I'm looking forward to reading the books at some point. Let me know down below, what do you think of the book, and how do you think it stacks up to the first season of the show? Which do you like better? Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and stop talking now. I think that's kind of 12 minutes for a book review. I could probably go longer if I had someone with me, but that's enough talking just for me. You're probably tired of my voice by now. But thanks everyone for listening, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye everyone.